I told you, this thing is bigger than Nino Brown, and I got a list of proof.
Order.
If I'm going down,
Order in
I'm
the
taking a
court.
whole lot of
I
people
said
with me.
order in the court.
Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am.
To this day.
Nino Brown Boxing, and I'm back in the building. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. I want to talk about the growing hate for the Errol Spence Jr. fan base. Now, I've been noticing a trend when it comes to the Errol Spence Jr. fan base, and how a lot of people have been saying they don't like Errol Spence Jr. fans. And to me, outside of your loyalty to another fighter and some form of jealousy, I can't understand why you would dislike the Errol Spence fan base. I mean, it's not like football, it's not like basketball or anything like that. Boxing is it's an individual sport, and it's multiple weight classes, so it makes sense to have more than one guy that you like. Now, the idea of not liking a fan base, it makes sense. For example, the Anthony Joshua fan base, I get it. There's logical reasons why people wouldn't like Anthony Joshua fan base, due to the ducking, due to the strategic moving, due to Anthony Joshua protectors making excuses. I'll give you another example of a fan base I understand that people wouldn't like. The extremely loyal fan base of an Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner talks about how he's going to let his hands go, how he's going to beat somebody's ass every single time he gets in there with someone that's decent or good competition. And then he loses over and over again. And the fan base continues to talk that greasy shit like Adrian Broner is some elite fighter, and he's not. But when it comes to the Errol Spence Jr. of the world, Errol Spence Jr. fan base is very simple. You have a young guy in Errol Spence Jr. that Errol Spence is loved clearly by his fan base. He's loved and respected by his peers. And you have people on the other side of the street like an Oscar De La Hoya that wants to sign Errol Spence Jr. extremely bad. Another thing that I don't understand is some people like to point out the fact to Errol Spence fans that Errol Spence is ducking Terrence Crawford. Like, that was one of the biggest narratives that they had, and they try to say they didn't understand why Errol Spence fans conducted themselves, or why we conduct ourselves the way we do. But Terrence Crawford came out recently, and he shut that shit down. He made it clear Errol Spence isn't ducking him. So that's something else that was eliminated. Now, it seems like going into this Sean Porter bout, Errol Spence fans are very confident that Errol Spence is going to just simply beat Sean Porter's ass. It's plain and simple. And the fact that a lot of Errol Spence fans that believe that Spence will do it in dramatic fashion, they take issue with that. And they say they don't like Errol Spence fan base, or were unrealistic. See, the thing about being an Errol Spence fan, and maybe some people aren't taking this into consideration, is the Errol Spence fan base, we know and we believe that Errol Spence ceiling is a 147. His ceiling's not 154. We believe Errol Spence has the ability to go up to middleweight and be dominant and become a legend. So to me, it only makes sense for this 5'9.5", big welterweight, the strong, very fundamentally sound, power in both hands, a great body puncher, destroys his opponents with accumulation of punches, extremely skillful, proved himself to all of the naysayers that he had subpar boxing ability, he only could run through guys. He proved that narrative wrong. And he outboxed one of the most fundamentally sound guys in boxing in Mikey Garcia. Errol Spence Jr.'s ceiling is beyond the welterweight division. So when it comes to Errol Spence being in unification bouts against Sean Porter, A guy that lost his belt in America to Kell Brook, and Errol Spence had to go over to the UK and bring it back home. It only makes sense for Errol Spence fans to be extremely confident. When you have a guy like Terrence Crawford, pound for pound #1 guy in the world, it comes out and say that Errol Spence isn't ducking him. Clearly, Errol Spence is someone that he respects. You have Crawford, a guy that's fought at 30, 35, no, fought at 35, 40, and now 47. You have a guy like that in Terrence Crawford, where he's gone through multiple divisions. He's the naturally smaller man. And to me, Crawford may be a tad bit more skilled of a boxer, but to me, Errol Spence is more fundamentally sound. And then you come with a guy that clearly has more power, Errol Spence. He's a bigger guy. It only makes sense for Errol Spence fans to believe that he will beat Terrence Crawford. And then with that being the case, you have an old Manny Pacquiao, and you have a Keith Thurman that has been clearly ducking Errol Spence Jr. for years. The next big thing for Errol Spence Jr. is to move up to 154 and see if he can dominate that weight class as well. It's something I believe that he truly can do. And my favorite fighter, and Jarrett Hurd is up there. I mean, I just have to be honest about it. Errol Spence shows greatness. I mean, he shows a lot of potential. And it only makes sense, if you're truly confident in your guy, it only makes sense to believe that he can achieve greatness. And if with achieving greatness and you believe it in your guy, some people are going to get pissed off. Some people never really had that type of confidence in themselves or that type of confidence in someone else. So they really can't understand the idea of it. Like, I understand the false sense of confidence, and it's surrounded by, you know, a lot of illusions and a lot of extremely strategic movement and a lot of ducking. I get that. But that's not Errol Spence Jr. Like, we all know Errol Spence, he's a very calm, laid-back guy. You know, he shows spurts of his personality here and there, but at the same time, like, he's no Adrian Broner. He's not putting on for the cameras. And he's no Anthony Joshua. He's not hiding behind his promoter, yelling out numbers and then reneging on offers that his opponent gives to him. Errol Spence Jr. currently, after this unification bout, if he's victorious, his biggest fight in boxing is Terrence Crawford. And when you have Terrence Crawford saying that he's not ducking him, that would be like Deontay Wilder telling the world that Anthony Joshua wasn't ducking him. It was other things going on. So I don't understand this growing hate for Errol Spence Jr. fans. To me, it really doesn't make sense. And my thing is, win, lose, or draw, I'm still going to be an Errol Spence Jr. fan. It's just one of those things where Errol Spence, his ceiling is at 147. His ceiling is at 154. The boxing world is desiring a super fight against Errol Spence Jr. and Canelo Alvarez in the future. So it only makes sense, guys. It only makes sense for us to believe Errol Spence's dominance at the welterweight division. It's Nino Brown Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC, and I'm out.